Are you tired of all the uneducated noise you're getting from the droves of YOLO meme coin peddling douchebag gurus out there trying to use you as their exit liquidity? Would you rather learn a competent university level set of skills that will guide you in managing and investing for the rest of your life? Join us 3 days a week at Digital Investor. Develop your knowledge of game theory, cognitive bias, macroeconomics, monetary theory, investment theory, psychology of the crowds, and more. For more info on Digital Investor and how it can help you, reach out at nickblacknext.com.
All right. I think we got most of the hellos. All you people that live where it's cold, why? Why? I like waking up 6 months out of the year and being frozen to death. I like that if I get locked out of my car, I die. No. What's wrong with you people? Everybody moves towards the coasts. That's where the fish are. That's where the water is, man. Wise up, people. All right. Unless you like the cold, which I think is bullcrap. No one likes the cold. I like it when it's cold. No, you don't. It's some bullshit you tell yourself. I like it. I like the cold. I like to see my fingers turn blue. No, you don't. No one likes that. They tolerate that. You don't like it. You might lie to yourself. I love it. No, you don't. Okay. Let's see. Kind of all sorts of stuff. We'll do some Q&A today if there's any kind of, you guys have any things we need to tackle. And then we're going to talk a little bit about MATIC. I've seen some kind of like final behavior that I'm just not comfortable with. So, but that's going to be, we're going to do that behind the wall because that's more an investor related thing. And I will tell you what I'm going to do with that position. So we'll save that for behind the wall. And we'll probably save most of it because the other thing I'm going to do is I have this thing that I've been developing called the, here, let me put it up. See if I got the banner for that. Incremental decision theory. So we're going to talk, that's going to be the brainiac part of today. We're going to go into incremental decision theory and how you can get yourself a few thousand extra decisions a year among your peers. I'll explain it. It doesn't make sense until I kind of go into it. And then you're like, oh my Jesus. If you're a, Jesus person. Oh my Yahweh. I don't think anybody said that. Okay. Crypto news. Yeah, we're going to talk about MATIC and some suspicious behavior. And I Fundstrat. So there's Tom Lee over at Fundstrat. He's a Bitcoin guy. He's orange pilled, but he's not crazy orange pilled. And he said some interesting things about Bitcoin and where a lot of money could come from that could rocket. He's in the camp of the 100 to 150,000 sometime this year camp. And again, no one ever sees it until it's there. And then they're like, oh my God, it was so obvious. Yeah, everything's obvious after the fact. Nothing's obvious before. If everything was obvious before, everyone would do it every time. It's not, none of it. So, but he's in the 100 to 150K camp. I don't know what camp I'm in. I think I'm in the 100 to 120K camp. I definitely think Bitcoin will take out all-time highs, but that's only 69,000 and change. And I think that'd be relatively easy. That could also happen pretty quickly. I think when the advertising machines get spun up for these Bitcoin ETFs, when the salesmen start making the calls, it's pretty obvious. But what they were saying over at Fundstrat was that there's many trillions of dollars that sidelined. I mean, they had an egregious number, like many trillions, many tens of trillions were sidelined in privately held assets. And that, if 1 to 3% of that, made it into investment vehicles like Bitcoin ETFs and things like that, then you could see a very dramatic price up. And then that would support some of those kind of weird gap up price assumptions by people like Samson Mao and stuff like that, who, again, those are orange pill dudes. They're mostly ridiculous in what they say, but that also doesn't mean that it can't happen. So yeah. And no, haven't heard from Howard in a few days, not since last week. All right. 14 degrees everywhere. No, but remember yesterday you were like, LA sucks. I hate 69-degree weather in January. I like Texas. Remember? Don't walk that back now, buddy. Okay. Question for Behind the Wall, perhaps. Once Brandon sends the license out, do we have to start tilling? I mean, the tilling score, I think people are getting a little bit more excited about the tilling than it's probably worth. As the compute phase rolls out, it's going to be slow to start. Remember, they're 6 months ahead of schedule. So for 6 months of compute, it's really in that test environment. This would all be just testing. So if you make 1 penny 6 months early, you made infinitely more than you should have made. This whole free tilling thing was, in my opinion, silly. Like, what? Free tilling for what? No one's doing shit. Why would anybody get anything they're not doing anything. They're not using any of their own equipment. So my personal opinion is the whole free tilling thing was stupid. Not stupid to do it, but just stupid that people were counting on it. That's, to me, like, people have gotten a little bit in the hypercycle ecosystem, a little bit entitled. I deserve. You don't deserve shit. None of us do. This isn't like a you thing. This is just all of us. We don't deserve tilling on equipment that's not ours, with tokens that haven't been married to licenses that haven't been split. None of that makes any sense. Like, from a common sense perspective, no one deserves any of that. The fact that they're doing it is a gift, but people confuse a gift for some kind of weird right or entitlement, which is not the way it should be. So my guess is, when the licenses are split and once there's a place to point them, that's it. The tilling goes away. But I would assume that they're not allowing that all of this dovetails with HyperPG being ready. The other thing too is, you're not going from like splitting your licenses to compute immediately. You're computing, you're making money. And that ramp up on the node licenses generating income, you probably have a handful of companies that are going to participate in this kind of early stages of compute. But until that pipeline is full, I don't think people are going to see what their nodes are really producing on a day-to-day basis. So again, I just urge people to remember 6 months early. So for 6 months, if you make a penny, you win. 6 months early. So we don't really know what the state of compute is even going to look like until we approach September of this year. Everybody just thinks, oh, day one in March, we're rich. No, dude, that doesn't even make any damn sense. And again, I'm not talking to any one person. I'm talking to everyone. But I occasionally go in. I shut down the price chat. I'm not ever going in the price chat again. It's just a bunch of idiots. But in the regular Telegram group, which is a good Telegram group for Hypercycle, I still see some really entitled, just asinine comments. Win node, this win, like, shut up, dude. Shut up. Anyway. But yeah. So you will, if you don't have somewhere to point your licenses, yes, you'll lose the accumulated tilling, but it won't matter anyway, because there's not really any compute to be tilling for. Like, oh, I want to get a split. Why? Split what? Split what on what equipment? Why? So I just think we're way ahead. Let's see. Nick, is it true that HyperPG and HyperPools are running compute will likely have all they need or slots spoken for? If so, what happened when we marry nodes tokens? Well, you can use your own hardware. You don't have to use their hardware. And I don't think they're going to be spoken for. I think much of HyperPG, but HyperPG is not just leveraging their facility in Paraguay. There's other facilities being spun up for this. So it's not like that's the only place your tokens and licenses can go or point. And people can get the boxes. Probably people will be able to run in the early days right off of their PCs. It's not going to be, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the technical demands are. And also, there are different levels of AI workloads. Like imagine like 3 tiers of workloads: light, medium, and heavy workloads that would require light, medium, and heavy hardware. So who knows, maybe a regular gaming PC could be fit for purpose for some of the lighter load stuff. We don't know yet because they haven't rolled out really kind of wide scale testing. We need to test more stuff and also more clients. Some clients are going to have higher workload demands. Some clients are going to have lower workload demands. Yeah. So we just don't know yet. You got 3 calls for ETFs. Yeah. Get ready. The sales machine is a-coming. Let's see. I'm wearing a tank top in Kansas City. Well, you know who wasn't wearing a tank top is Miami. Maybe they should have been. LA does suck. Texas is the best. Yeah, go outside for 45 minutes, then come back inside and tell us how great Texas is. Oh, how those property taxes working for you, by the way. Eesh. I like it that all the people that moved from LA to go live in Texas, like, I'm going here where it's cheap. No state income tax. Good luck. Then they buy something and they're like, wait, why am I paying 5 times the amount of property taxes? Oh, you didn't do that research, did you? Yeah. And that's a lever they can keep pushing. Schools, municipalities, man, you got to do all the math. I mean, if you just like Texas, cool. I just doubt that. I think you like Texas for a few months a year. And then otherwise you look and it's a flat, desolate wasteland with a bunch of redneck hillbillies. And you're like, what the smoke? And I grew up there, so I can say that. I can say it's a desolate wasteland with a bunch of redneck hillbillies. Because it's a desolate wasteland with redneck hillbillies. Yeah. Said by someone who doesn't live in LA. All right, let's do this. Just trying to get a license split. I don't think the splits are all that important. I'll be honest with you. I think having your licenses at peak performance and knowing which equipment to utilize. For instance, well, there's a lot of for instances. Let's just wait until they launch. I just don't think split after split after split as quick as possible is going to be how the money's made. I think the money's made being maximizing the efficiency of your hardware to the workloads, because different workloads are going to pay different amounts. Not all nodes are equal. Every node doesn't equal the same, doesn't generate the same income because it's different workloads, different tasks, right? Every company that comes into the Hypercycle ecosystem purchasing compute is not doing it in the same way for the exact same function. So I think there's a lot of assumptions that just cannot be made right now. And you just got to wait for this thing to roll out. Let's see. So we aren't that smart to see. Yes, I don't think we can see into the future. If we do win, we think, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of cognitive bias there, right? Like where you look back and you say, well, obviously it was clear that was going to happen. Let's see. They were trying to play even the playing field. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. There is no sense of entitlement into his question. You're reading that. Jim, buddy, first of all, take off that hat. You look like a bus driver. And second, yes, there was plenty of entitlement in the ecosystem, not in his question. So listen to my response. I qualified it 2 or 3 times. Cruising asks good questions. So sometimes when he asks a question, he, she, or they, because I should not assume pronouns, I'll use some people's questions to address a larger corpus of individuals, a larger slice. Are licenses tied to NFTs, or can you sell the license and keep the NFTs? Okay, the NFTs you currently have in your wallet are placeholders. Those are just placeholders. You never have to do anything with those. What you're going to be receiving are the specific NFTs directly from Hypercycle. You will then point your tokens and your license at a specific place, and that will free up the native tokens by some fantastic software mechanisms. And then those native tokens, the C Hypercycle tokens, like little c, they are the actual tokens that go back and forth in the network, wrapping data, wrapping transactions, and pushing them back and forth like little delivery trucks, little C Hypercycle delivery trucks, like little UPS trucks. And the minimum you have to have is 1 per node license to push those transactions back and forth, but it's very fast. You can wrap transactions and move very fast. Let's see. Hypercycle at this price has been great. Yeah, it's been really good. A lot of people got tokens here. And a lot of people were trying to get tokens. We had a lot of volume over the weekend. They got quiet yesterday. But a lot of volume over the weekend of people working their way in and around those tokens. And certainly it's better at 60 cents or 65 cents than it was at $1.18 just like 4 months ago. All right. Let's see. Let me see if we got any other questions we can knock out, and then we will roll out. Let me see. We're going to go behind the wall. We got some behind the wall stuff, especially as we talk about MATIC. Oof. You pay in other ways, buddy. We're all veterans. Every third person here is a veteran. You're just rationalizing. But you know what? I appreciate it. I appreciate a good rationalization. Let's see. Okay, let me see. Oh, question. Okay, JR, sorry. Is return for computing on your own equipment estimated to be higher? Absolutely, because you're not having, if you're leveraging someone else's computing resources, they're going to take some percentage for that. Now, is the return? Yes. If you had said, is the percentage return, then you'd have to qualify that. So meaning, like, will you make more versus someone else doing the exact same thing using the same equipment? No, you guys would make the same for the same tasks. But what you might have is, you might have a situation where your equipment is better at certain kinds of AI tasks than someone else's equipment. Therefore, you're more efficient at running those compute tasks on your AIMs, your AI machines. There's a lot of moving parts. The way I see it is, it's probably better to leverage someone else's equipment at first, and then learn from their experience. They're going to be producing a lot of data. There's going to be a lot of data coming out of the early kind of rollout of compute phase. And then you use that to decide what you want to buy. Like I wouldn't tell anyone to go out and buy any equipment right now. If you have existing equipment, you know, like Brandon's got a lot of really like badass gaming PCs. So for him, it makes sense. Try his different equipment. see what makes the most sense as they continue to, like develop out the compute phase. There's going to be a lot of data in there, and then they're going to use that data, and then they're going to tell people, hey, listen, if you go get this equipment and this equipment, it's going to be great. Go buy H100s, but you don't need the H200s, or I don't know, whatever. Things like that. Or for the smaller people can run it on a gaming PC with these kind of memory and this kind of, processing power and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So there you go. Let's see. Jim, you didn't even know what the word bias was till you started hanging out with us. Stop it and take off that hat. Let's see. Let me see if we got any other questions and we'll roll out. I would wait until we understand the compute. Yeah, just give it some time. I think the best thing everyone could do is just give it a little time. No one's going to lose anything if they lose some compute. Sorry, not compute. Your tilling, your uptime doesn't mean shit. It's going to take 6 months, I think, for compute to really roll out in where you're like, okay, this is what it is. This is what I can make on a node given my equipment or someone else's equipment. So what? Like, even if you started tomorrow, even if you started next week with 0, the compute phase it's not functional yet. It's only slowly testing little bits and pieces. So until that is full, a giant pipeline of companies leveraging the ecosystem, you're not going to really have good data. That takes time. It's not like you flip the switch. It's not like all these assholes that thought Ripple was going to flip some button and there's a whole giant world reset and everyone on earth is using XRP. And oddly enough, people believe that. But there's no great reset. There's no great on button for hypercycle. For any of these ecosystems, they slowly enter each phase, right? And they bring on more clients, and they produce more data, and they fix code and change code and add and subtract and all this kind of stuff. And again, 6 months ahead. So I would say, don't invest, hold off on making big equipment purchases. I would get your nodes and tokens lined up, right? If you don't have enough tokens, you probably take advantage of lower prices if that's your thing. And you let it develop out. That's what I would do. Well, that's what I am doing. So there we go. All right. The token shortage was not foreseen. No, I think the token shortage, or you mean like Bitcoin, or do you mean hypercycle? That was absolutely foreseen. We've been talking about that since May, June, July, since July. That's old. That's old hat, man. Is there an incentive to run your own equipment? And again, I think the incentive is because you would keep more of the revenue if it's your equipment. Is it still 0.32%? Those are the numbers that I've seen. I don't know if there's any new changes in that. I mean, I assume other pools may have different breakdowns. But again, I don't know. I'm not in that part of the team that determines what. I don't know. I'm not involved in hyper PG or hyper pools, so I don't know what they do. I don't know what the rules are and how. And a lot of that, I think they're going to be manipulating those numbers until they find something that is sustainable. Okay, what is your plan with your licenses? 50-50 hyper PG. I think that's, to me, Arthur, that makes the most sense. If you're not going to leverage your own equipment, you don't know which equipment to leverage, then I think you wait. And I think you go 50-50, hyper PG, hyper pool. Then you could take your profits if you wanted to redeploy them. You don't have to, but you could. If you wanted to redeploy them, you could redeploy them maybe on your own equipment and test. I have 2 hyper boxes. You see one there and one over there. I am going to put a master node on one of them, and then I'm going to do one with one node and one with a master node. And I'm going to just run them both. And I'm going to see okay, which one breaks, which one, just to see. And we'll see how that goes. Maybe it will be a dumpster fire, but maybe it'll be awesome. We don't know because we don't have data. Nick, do you have a hard date for Tufi when the 1155 tokens go back to the treasury? No, I don't. There's no hard dates on anything. That's all developer stuff. They put the word out and then they're testing. I know that a lot of the team is in Davos right now where all the rich people are going to signal to everyone that they're super rich. Not our people, but the Davos people, the Jamie Dimons and the other jerkbags of the world. But it's going to be a lot of AI stuff at Davos this year. So great. All right. You can divert the conversation all you want. That's the whole point of office hours. We can go down tangents, man. We can go down tangents. Let's see. And hello to you. All right. Let's see. Okay, so let's do this. Let's switch gears. We kind of need to go behind the wall because the MATIC thing gets into investment advice. Can't do that in a public place. And then we want to talk about our incremental decision theory, which is going to get you many thousands of decisions better each year among your peers. There's a lot of value to that. I'll explain it. I've even broken it down in a way you can kind of see the way this is something I've been kind of thinking about for a few years. It's how I quantified using game theory as a structure for most decisions, especially in finance. Anyway, for 5 of the 200 of you, it's going to be valuable. For the rest, it'll probably fall on deaf ears. Either way, we should probably do it behind the wall because that too gets into kind of investment theory and, So let's do this. Let us go back here. We'll use this little guy right here. It looks really cool. We'll do our little segue. Everybody's going to be happy. It's going to be amazing.
We're going behind the proverbial wall now to continue the broadcast privately for the digital investors and digital private clients. If you'd like to join us, simply go to nickblacknext.com and subscribe to one of our plans and immediately take advantage of our library of tools, tactics, and information. It's all designed to help you learn, grow, and manage your portfolio like a pro. Join us now.